Welcome to the Kobe Bryant Film Room. I would like to welcome you guys to the Behind the Sports Network, and thank you guys for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Shout out to the bench crew, Kelvin, Big Dog, JB, and Rashad. So, in this video, I would like to just talk about the issues surrounding All-Star Game. There's been a lot of conversations about what to do to improve the All-Star Game, and it led me to think, right? What's really truly wrong with the All Star game? And we've heard, giving players more incentives, meaning money or playoff positioning or different type of prizes to lure in and entice these players to play the game they're supposed to love, right? And so, just looking, I watched the whole All Star game, right? Just looking at their demeanor on the court and how their mentality was to was playful, right? Let's go out there, let's walk up and down, it's more like a meet and greet, like a celebrity event, right? Let's not do a little too much. Let's just shoot, get a couple of open shots off, some wide open dunks, and whoever scores the most wins, right? Uh, the problem is it's bad for the fans, right? No competition, no aggressiveness, uh, you know, no trying to prove oneself or establish oneself in the league, right? And that's how it used to be, right? We used to watch guys literally try to establish a name for themselves, in the All Star game, right? It was a stage, right? The same thing with the dunk contest, right? It was a stage to get your name on the map, right? And it also was tradition, right? You want to carry on the tradition of the players before you, right? And I'm big on tradition, right? You can't break away from what the greatest in the game, the greatest players in the game established, right? So we have, to me, in my opinion, what's wrong with the All Star game is it's a generational thing. It's a societal thing, right? So we have a bigger issue in society, right? Men not being men, uh, the entitlement, right? Now we're getting to the point where guys don't want to play 65 games, but they want to be paid like they're playing 82. They also want to be treated as if they're doing what the other legends who played all 82 games and played through injuries uh, got treated, right? And so they want to basically be on the receiving end of most of the praise, but they want to do less of the work, right? Another aspect of it, right, is defense. Um, the defensive aspect. What people are basically saying, right, when they're watching these games, there's no competition. What people are basically begging for, right, is more defense, right? Because what happens, right? Defense is the core of competition, right? You try to score, I'm standing in your way, right? And that's the point, right? I don't let you do what you want to do. And some people might have a problem with you not letting them do what they want to do. Also, when you go to the lane, okay, I whack you upside your head. It's kind of hard to be friends with somebody who just tried to take your head off, right? And so, and somebody who's unapologetic about it, right? And so uh, that grit is what makes competition, and what makes rivalries, right? Defense. Adam Silver has taken the defense out of the game, for the most part, right? The stars are really paid best based on their offensive production. I did a video a while back on Dar- uh, uh, Brooks, right? What's his first name? Dylan Brooks. Sorry, I had a brain fart right there. I did a video about Dylan Brooks, right? And how we should love Dylan Brooks. Why? Because remember, if you remember watching, he ref- he forced he forces guys to compete. See what I mean? He forces guys to take the game seriously, right? Yeah, there's no just freely walking up the ball up the court. You know, a lot of people don't like Dylan because of other things. He does a lot of shenanigans on the court, and all that is true, right? He's an irritant. He's somebody who's gonna bother you, get under your skin. Somebody who's gonna sometimes take unnecessarily cheap shots. But he's necessary for competition's sake, right? He doesn't want to be friends. He doesn't want to be cool. He doesn't want to hang out at these parties with you, and he doesn't mind mixing it up, right? So we're missing the enforcers. We're missing the grit, right? Not too many gritty players who force other players to compete, and that's why I did that video pointing out Mr. Dylan Brooks, right? So in this society that we live in, right, we have become pussified. What do I mean? There's so many safety nets for men in these sports, right? Don't hit them too hard. We have a problem with and I understand, right? You don't want people getting hurt like they used to, concussions and the injuries. And, you just don't want. That's not a good look for guys to just get hurt. But they made it so much of an advantage to be an offensive player, right? So what's the benefits of playing defense? You're gonna get fouls called on you, right? So basically it's almost like how they do those experiments and they might shock the gerbil from going in a certain direction, right? Every time the gerbil tries to go to the right, it gets shocked, right? I think it's the same thing with defense. Every time a guy tries to play defense, you know, he gets penalized, right? So what do they start doing? Start moving out the way, right? Nobody wants to get a foul call on them. Uh, uh, Guys are acquiescing, saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm just going to let this guy get his. That's what the referees want to see, and I'm just going to try and stay in the game so I can help my team." Right? So the referees have way too many control over these games. I mean, if you look at the fouls, the amount of fouls these guys are getting called for and against, it's ridiculous, man. They're like the referees are literally deciding a lot of games and playoff series, right? The best thing to do is, in my opinion, not call a foul for both sides, right? I'd rather no one get called for the foul than it just be one sided, right? Or you call it fouls for both sides. To me, that's not sufficient, right? To me, calling foul for both sides is still corrupt. It's still bullshit, right? Just don't call fouls against anybody if you want it to be truly fair. Then it's truly a man's game. Whoever's the man's going to win at that particular point in time. So we have a societal issue of entitlement. We have because guys don't feel like they have to come out and compete. They really don't, and they don't give a fuck if you're there with your kids. If you sacrificed paychecks, rent, they don't give a fuck. Their attitude is you should be happy that I showed up, right? And they may not mean to come across that way, but that's how it comes across, right? Who fights to play less? You know, when you're already uh, paid your money pretty much guaranteed, right? Based on the TV deals from the fans, right? People are watching this stuff, right? And now when you look at the All Star game, the ratings are suffering, right? and this stuff is still being stuffed down our throats. And it's not working for the NBA, and that's why we're here at Behind the Bench Sports Network to hold the NBA accountable and bring back the play for the fans, for you all, right? A lot of people fight for these players, and I don't understand it. I don't get it. You know, we're trying to bring attention to what's going on so that you guys out there can watch a good product, can watch a more entertaining dunk contest, a more entertaining All Star game, right? These things are supposed to be entertaining. That's the whole point. It's supposed to be an event for the fans, not for these guys to be chummy with each other and to shake hands and get supermodels to the hotel. And they could do that. They could do that, but perform, man. Like get it in. So the defense has been taken away. Guys are being penalized for it, and it's also a societal thing, man. Guys are just getting weak. You got guys out here, and this gonna get away from basketball, and this gonna get to some real shit, right? You got guys over there. Back in my, back when I was growing up, man. Uh, you know, the women weren't the players like that, right? Nowadays, the women are the ones playing mind games and not being the ones to call back. It used to be the men didn't call back and the women wait on the call. And now it's men waiting on the females to call. Women are trying to pimp out men. You know what I'm saying? Women are telling men what they want, men what to do, and men are listening to them. Right? When I was growing up, like you did as a man, you did whatever the hell you wanted to do. That she had to follow and do what you wanted her to do. If she wanted to be around you, your rules, your way or the highway. Pretty much it should have been my way or the highway, right? But nowadays, you got NBA players. What are they doing? They begging women to come through, tricking women. These are multi-million-dollar men, made men. But that just shows you their mentality. Like they're happy to be in the good graces of females. To me, that's a weakened mind state. Men are taught more to be in tune with their feelings. We worry about how people feel, and things being unfair. And look, I was taught a man has to find a way. Right? If you're on a team and you ain't got that much on the team, find a way. Figure it out. Draft better. Demand something from your organization. You know, get better. You know, you should ask yourself if you lose, you should ask yourself, what is it that I can do? What more can I do to win? What other ways can I affect the game? Right? Scoring is just one way to affect the game. What about rebounding? What about defense? What about guys don't do that? If they get cut off scoring, they start crying and say, "Well, what do you want me to do?" Excuses are made. Right? There are no excuses, man. You don't get it done. You don't get it done. Period. I hold every player to that standard. I hold Kobe to that standard, bro. You lose, bro. Kobe lost, he lost. Yeah, but remember when Kobe lost? You got these fans that come up to me and they think I'm about to make an excuse for it. They say, man, remember when Kobe lost and when he played the Phoenix Suns? Yeah, nigga, like he lost. Like he lost. You know? Do I think it was all his fault? No. But he was on the team. He's part of the team and the team lost. You go down with the shit. But guys don't want to do that no more. Now we're jumping from team to team. We're constantly pointing the finger. Whatever happened to men taking accountability? Hey, this one's on me. Put your hand in the air and say, yo, this one's on me. You might feel, as if you need more, but like this is on me. This is on me, and hold your organization accountable to get you the help you need. If you do not have that adequate help, figure it out, right? You don't just drop your head and give up. So this is called perseverance. There's none of that. And we are sitting here watching the product, and most of the NBA games are just like the All Star game. Now, when it comes to guys like Damian Lillard, I thought his performance in the All Star game was okay. It wasn't great. Um, and the only reason why it wasn't great is because if there was a hand in his face, then it'd be great, right? Him shooting that full court shot, he was practically wide open, right? There's no resistance, and so when people want, it's kind of strange that people want people to clap their hands and for a guy shooting an open shot. Like he's an NBA player shooting a wide open shot. There's no hand in his face. And so these are shots that we see Steph Curry make all the time coming out the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so I don't understand why a lot of people they have that attitude and they want you to clap. They don't want you to critique. And here we are, right? When you don't have a standard, this is what you get. Now they're crying about the All Star game. You hear the media crying about the All Star game. I heard Stephen A. Smith crying about the All Star game. But this is the dude, who he praises guys for taking shortcuts, right? He doesn't reward the guys who try hard, the guys who have grit and determination and honor and who play hard on both ends. He don't. He watches the games just like us. He knows what he's watching. He knows when somebody's giving effort and somebody's not. You know what I mean? But it's a business, right? So they had to cover it because it was that damn bad. But if he could have swept it on the rug, he would have swept it on the rug, just like everything else. Um, but I think it's a societal issue, and I honestly don't think there's anything you could do to fix it. You offer them more money, they're probably going to get worse, right? Look what happened when you offered the Lakers all that money after they won the in season tournament. After you gave it to them, they went out and didn't even compete on at all, right? They were getting their ass whooped because why? They felt like they achieved something. They got money. They were chilling, relaxed, comfortable, and it made them worse. Now they're in the ninth spot in the West because after that stretch, they pretty much said, "Hey, we won the championship." That was the mentality. We got money, we got paid. Now everybody chilling. So I'm not even sure money will help. I think just bring back defense and try and deal with the personalities you have, but stop calling all these bogus foul calls. Stop manipulating the game because you can't manipulate basketball. Basketball is a pure sport. And you can't take away that heart, grit, and determination. Otherwise, if you do, you have this, right? You have what you saw this past weekend, and but I just wanted to chime in and give my thoughts on why the game was suffering, right? It's a societal thing compounded with the need to take away physicality because men are being told to be weak, right? It's being promoted that hey, if you're like Kobe, if you're like Mike, that's toxic masculinity. And so that's all I have here. This is the Kobe Bryant Film Room. Just wanted to chime in with that, and I'll hop.